Hello. Welcome to this little review, little watch back of the first race I've ever actually recorded in my 3 years at the BUKC. This is at Wilton Mill, as many of you may already have been able to tell. Had a very rainy morning, luckily stopped about half an hour before we started racing. Proper strong winds, and a little bit of sun. This is race 1 of the day, so track has not been used. And you may also see, or you will also see, the new last corner. And you see how slippy it is. 2 people already going around, and these are just the warm-up laps. And it's not surprising really, the track was very cold, very wet as you can see. Quite greasy as well from the rubber from the last couple rounds. Another one around, I don't know how he's been there. But we're also on brand new tyres, and you're on slicks, obviously. So brand new slick tyres. They're not too difficult to bed in these Club 100 cars, but it can be a bit slippy, especially in these conditions. And we're running the international track today. See me on the stream there in the red suit. That's the first time in about 6 years of doing this international circuit, so just taking it very, very easy. Don't have many laps to warm up, so it's nice not to bin it and have to recover your car and waste precious time. But yeah, I love this layout. I remembered I did from before, but we always do the Zulu layout through the chicanes. But I so prefer this. Ashby's a great corner, Ozier's is a great corner, and it gives you a proper overtaking opportunity into the boot as well. But here we are, the new last corner, very wet as you can see. Spraying up water onto the camera, more yellow flags. It was a very weird thing where, because it was new tarmac, it was more grippy in the wet, but as it dried out in the day, it stayed wet, so it never really dried up. Even though it was sunny all day, there was still a couple little wet patches. Whereas the rest of the track, you can see already on the run up to Christmas there's already dry lines forming. But the rest of the track, as you can see with the back kicking out constantly, and the inside of Ashby here was like ice. Even going on this centre bit, you can see a completely wash out. So it's a very interesting dynamic for the races. It makes it difficult to overtake, especially in these Club 100 karts that do tend to bog quite a bit if you're low on the revs, like here. It'll take a bit to get going. So the race, we were fighting for the Clubman Championships here. Shouldn't really be in the Clubman team, but we had a terrible qualifiers, which places you in Prems or Clubmans, up behind our teammate Tanbeer here. But yeah, we were fighting for the championship anyway, which we did end up winning, thanks to a pretty good day overall. But going into race 1, you get a mixed grid. There's 6 races in the day of BUKC. Grids are determined before the race weekend, because there's no qualifying, so you get a mixture. This was our back start, or at least the A-team's back start, which I was racing in, starting 32nd out of 35 drivers. Little on-screen action here again. Thank you, Alpha Live. You can also watch all of this back. The entire live stream is available on YouTube under the BUKC. But yeah, this was our back start, and we had a few other good starts, and we have some drivers who are a lot quicker than me in the A-team doing the further front starts. I quite like doing these back starts because I find them really fun. But, alas, we are 32nd. It's kind of not too much pressure, because I think the next worst start we had after this was 20th or something like that. So you'd expect those drivers to do better, because it's your 3 scoring rounds that you take onto the account. So This looks to be a bit of fun, but we still want to do good. And we're thinking about that as we head over the line, and warm-up is done. So we start forming up here. Takes a couple laps to do so, so we'll skip forward. And here is everyone rolling up. You can see how many carts there are. That's not even all of them. We're still back at Ozier's. Just waiting to slot into our pretty much dead last grid position. We have our teammate in front who shouldn't be in front of us. He should have been a couple more places up, but oh well. And here we go. Rolling up for the first race of the final round of BUKC. Starting 32nd, as you can see. Davidron has shuffled his way through. Leaders are already going. We get going. Not a bad start. I don't know where the guy on the left's gone. Cross the line. Everybody is so sketchy coming into here. My teammate goes around already, trying to take that outside dry line just to get the grip. And there's 2 drivers around. Everybody jostle in front. Flashman in front of me. Very quick driver get forced onto the grass. Braking on the dry patch, which is nice. Don't go for the move because everyone's kind of filtering anyway. It's a 25-minute race. We make a couple of positions there, nice little slot through. Looking to cover off this line, get the dry line, little bit of a shake, 2, 3 drivers, 4 drivers around Ashby. How this race wasn't full started, I don't know. I've seen much less eventful starts get full started. Little battle for position here. I'm on the wet patch, so he gets a bit better on the brakes. Try and keep it tight, but there's just no grip. 3 wide in front of us. They all keep it together. Here's a little replay of that Ashby crash. Complete melee. Jostling for position ahead, but we're just starting to settle down now. Coming into this last corner complex for the last time. Really not an overtaken opportunity anyway. But the marshals did explicitly, the organisers said it was single file through there. And they do tend to be strict on that kind of stuff. But on to lap 2, we're up 11 positions to 21st. Can't quite match the pace of Flashman in front of us, who started behind us. But it's still a very good start. Everyone going very, very deep into Christmas, trying to get the cutback. We take the normal line, which was actually dry. Take a position, right up the driver in front. Coming into Ashby, just covering the line, but he slips down the outside. I wasn't expecting that. So we're on the slippy stuff. He goes around the outside. We get an absolutely crap exit, but still quite bunched up. Well, oh, gain 1 and lose 1 there. And gain another one here. Couple dive bombs in a couple corners. That leads driver, I don't know where he come from. It was an aggressive move. We're effectively in the same position we are, which isn't great because we're losing time to the drivers ahead, but it's okay. We've got plenty of time to work our way through. Basically pushing this guy through the boot. Want to keep a really tight line, even in the wet, through this new complex. Give him a little bump and we just get a bit of a crap exit. So hard to get right. Like I say, these carts do bog. So we stay in 21st. For that lap. Round goes Alicia Barrett. I think she got knocked out of position from what I saw on the live stream, which was a shame for her. She had really good pace. Very quick driver. Nice and late on the brakes into Christmas. Could have got on the power earlier. Still very slippy. And you might have noticed the reason why this video is called what it's called. Because this this is a borrowed camera on here, which didn't really mount properly. It did end up coming off, as you'll see, but it is a GoPro Hero 1, so at the end of the day it's not too much loss. Really good exit out of Ozier's. Get that guy before the corner's even done. No need to defend, we've got a much better run. Having a look into the boot, but you can't really go around the outside anymore now that you need to cut back for the last couple of corners. Through the last section we go, so we're making a little bit of progress. When it's this sort of slippy, people do spread out a lot more, so it's not ideal. It's quite hard to gain a lot of positions compared to in the dry, but we're having a look here. Having a look on the cutback, spinning the wheels constantly, but we get the grip. Up the inside, braking on the dry patch, he goes wide. And we're up into 18. So it's 14 positions in a few laps, it's really not that bad. And we're looking for a few top 10s here. Camera's really starting to shake. Oh, I do apologise for the rattle noise, but I couldn't really do much. Going really wide on Ashby. Properly wet there still, so he did wash out a bit. But you can see the dry patches, well, just about. See the dry patches really forming now. It was a very weird dynamic. You had some little wet patches and then completely dry sections, and some bits were completely wet. Turn 1 and 2 were really damp, which is quite unusual for them because they normally dry out quite quickly, but really slippy even into race 3, if I remember right. But round the last corner, the 4th time in this race, and yeah, that's a penalty for us. Clipping a cone somewhere, God knows where. I didn't really go that wide or narrow anywhere. There's only a 1 position penalty, not the end of the world. There's the position we made up. If you didn't catch it, there was the Imperial driver had gone off. Some footage from a little bit later when he was trying to get it back on the circuit. Unfortunately for him, because he was running really well in second, I believe. But we're just losing touch with this pack in front. Bit of a shaky exit out of turn 2. Starting to gain on them because they're jostling for position, so think about having a move on this guy who dive-bombed us earlier. Guy in front goes very narrow into Ozier's. Guy in front goes very deep as well. Get the cut back. Got a bit of a better run. Guy covers off in front of us. Trying to go around the outside, but there's just no grip on the brakes. So we keep the position. The battling's not doing us any good in this sort of fight. And you can see the amount of grease on the track, how dirty the camera is. I do apologise. That is not the same. That is the same penalty. Apologies. We've got yellow flags into turn 1. I believe that's because of the Imperial driver. You'll see him on the left. Around now. There he is. You can't even see the people in front, but we are losing touch a little bit, but gaining a lot on the brakes. I love this track so much, and we do come here a lot. It's quite close to us, so we do tend to get quite a lot of run in this track a few times a year, more than other people do. Leads guy, going for the move on the inside. There's no grip there still. No one's using it, so it's not dried out. So we get the place back from him. Delayed revenge, and this guy very slow out of that corner. We're going to have a look, and Ozier's is already starting to dry, so we get the traction. A move into 15th. Now, 15th may not sound like a lot, but they had some interesting rules on the track limits for this race. Normally, obviously, you get track limits for going stupidly wide anywhere, but this corner, the last corner, if you even put 1 wheel on the rumble strips, it was a track limits warning. And on the outside of turn 2 here, anything more than 2 wheels on the outside, so matey boy in front would have got a warning for that, is also a warning. Which makes it interesting because it's a 25-minute race and the BUKC is at times quite sloppy. And there were some races on this day where people were getting 15, 20 penalties just by themselves. There's someone off there, not on our lap though, so no position gained. But yeah, effectively if we keep a clean race and get somewhere in the low 10s, we should make it comfortably into the top 10 if we don't get any penalties, which that cone penalty we got earlier on was the only one. But speaking of moving up, right on the back of this driver here, who we were behind at the start of the race, I believe this was a Birmingham driver, but I'm not going to say that for sure, but either way, pretty quick driver, but we were just being later on the brakes pretty much everywhere. Later on the brakes, sooner on the throttle. But we're moving into lap 8 here. I believe this race was around sort of 20, 22 laps-ish. So we've got a lot of time, but that gap in front is massive now. gargantuan gap, as one may say. We're having a look late on the brakes. See how much later on the brakes we are. We're so right on his bumper now. Nigga said it's gearbox, but that's not where the gearboxes are. Not that they have one. And we're really starting to get some dry racing now. But offline it's still slippy. But the lap times were tumbling by about a second a lap, so it was just taking advantage of those dry patches, and he washes out a little bit there. See if we can get a good exit out of those. This seems like a good overtaking opportunity for us in this race. Not a corner I'm massively familiar with, but one that I really like. As you can see, we close right on him at the boot. You can be so late on the brakes there, even in these conditions, because you're pitching the car in with the brakes. And we're right on the back of him again. I think he gets a better exit than us here. No, maybe not. He gets a penalty. Oh, actually, correction. I believe this was a Lancaster driver. It may have not been this guy. Oh no, it wasn't this guy. As we go up the inside. Good run up to Christmas. We're on the dry section, late on the brakes. Snatch the position away. And we're up into 14th with a big gap ahead, so we've just got to put our head down now. And GoPro's getting very shaky. We see a spinner up front who overtook us earlier. So that gap's come down a lot. But yeah, like I say, we've just got to get our head down, punch in those laps, and just take advantage of any opportunities that come our way, like penalties and people spinning out and battles ahead. But this race really did kind of quiet down from now until the very last couple laps, where we had a sort of bit of battle of other people coming through the field who I believe made mistakes earlier, because they shouldn't have been that far back considering... Yeah, no, they would have been people who crashed on their first lap. People like BUKC. But later in this race we were held up by the B team of the team we were fighting for the Clubman Championship, which I didn't realise was them at the time, but I had a suspicion. So we potentially could have done a bit better in this race than we did, but I was properly happy with it as a result. I'm concluding this video because I believe this is the last lap of footage that you get to see. Yes, it is the last lap of footage, because the camera's getting proper shaky now. Getting wide there on Ashby. Didn't look like we went off that much, but trust me, we did. I got splashed with some very muddy water, so we lose a bit of time. Don't lose any position though, we managed to recover it. But yeah, camera's getting very shaky. So we come through the boot, through the right hand section of the boot, into the last couple sections of corners, and away the camera goes. But anyway, here's some footage of the end of the race. You can see on that second part of the leaderboard we were 12th, we got past the last lap, came 13th, but on penalty countback we came 9th. So very good result overall, considering a 30-second start. I'm very happy, yeah. So thank you for watching.